It's still plus politics. The outgoing Lagos State Governor, Akinwunmi Ambode, said on Monday that he had grown wiser politically. One would wonder what that meant, having spent 4 years in office. But how well has he performed in Lagos? And what should Babajide Sanwo focus on when he comes into office? I still have in the studio Lester Wilcox and Adeni Ikunu. Gentlemen, we're all Lagosians. We work, we live in Lagos. So one way or the other, we benefit from the government, either the good way or the bad way.
We pay our tax in Lagos.
Exactly. Yeah, so let's start. I'll start with you, Adeni Ikunu. Governor Akinwunmi Ambode is saying he's learned to be a better person. You know, he's learned his lessons. One will wonder what exactly that means politically. So let's look at this from a political perspective.
I'll tell you what it means as best as I'm able to. In the first place, he has learned not to dance another tune than the one the master is playing.
Who's the master in this case?
From Bola Tinubu to Fashola, those are his superiors. And those persons supported him to become governor. So that is a statement of fact. Secondly...
Are you alluding to the fact that there's some form of godfatherism in Nigerian politics? And that if, for example, you're my godfather, in quote, and maybe the plans that you have for my government is not necessarily what I want, and I think I have a better idea, which I know will work, I do not have to heed to your advice, or else you're going to mess me up.
The word mentor is a register in another context for godfather in politics.
Really?
And everybody the world over has a mentor and a mentee. In fact, most people do have their mentees, those who look up to them. We could have people who look up to you and you know for the very fact that you've been doing certain things that are good and they feel I could draw lessons from. So godfatherism in politics is as old as time, and I must say here very emphatically.
But do they have good and bad sides?
There are good sides to godfatherism if you don't allow your influence leads to control of the person you actually help get to where he or she is. For instance, Bill Clinton remains the godfather of Obama. Like it, hate it, or whatever it is you want to do. George Bush Sr. is the godfather of George Bush Jr. Go and ask them the questions. I'll tell you that for the records. I must say here that when you help somebody become one who occupies an exalted office, the person has a responsibility to a great extent to draw from your own facts and plans and also to get his own running. But if your superior or if somebody who is your mentor really has a functional template, I think very strongly that it doesn't, you do not have to deviate completely from that to make a statement. For Ambode, who says he has also learned very seriously to really be open-minded, to be forgiven if at all anybody wrongs him. Let me tell you, every one of us, including myself, we have one fault or the other. And because man will remain fallible till the world ends, we should give room and become elastic to forgive. And anytime God gives you the opportunity to put your enemy's life on your hands, it doesn't give it to you to take it. It gives you room to forgive so that they can learn lessons of penitence and forgiveness. For Ambode, when he was there during the time of Fashola, there are lots of issues. Because, of course, he was a commissioner, there were lots of things that happened then. Ambode eased out at the height of his problems with Fashola, but of course his allegiance was with Bola Tinubu. And God gave you the opportunity to return. Do you know that the housing program of his predecessor, he scrapped it, and only today he started mentioning that they resuscitate the housing programs like 6 months' time? That is completely ridiculous of him to say. Look at Lagos, for instance. Fashola took Lagos to a level where at least it dealt with the dirt and the filth of Lagos. The inroads, when Fashola was there, it wasn't 100%, but they could patch somewhere, fix somewhere. But you just examine the sanitation level of Lagos.
You're telling me that he did way below his predecessor.
He deviated, in his unforgiveness, he deviated completely from a blueprint that many persons are beginning to see as a prototype of modern-day development, even if it is completely less or very less in comparison to other successful countries. But there was a template on ground that one would have expected him to really deal with or follow, but he never did.
Has Governor Ambode done really well, in your opinion?
Yes, Ambode is an accountant, he's an FCA.
Does that make him a great administrator?
So I tend to ally with him because we are colleagues. Does
that make him a good administrator?
No, hold on. Kunu has given a very long lecture on it, but I think there is more to that. I'm not sure Ambode went against his benefactor, which is Ahmed Bola Tinubu. But Ambode didn't play politics of the politicians. Now, the complaint really, yes, the complaint really of Ambode was not from Bola Tinubu, but from the political establishment. You see, Bola Tinubu leads a political establishment. He's not the political establishment. He leads a political establishment. And he made it clear when this Buhari started. He said, I'm only a leader if there are followers. The moment the followers are out,
no more leaders.
I'm no more a leader. And if the followers said, Ambode, no more, because really and truly, people felt his governance was yes, touch the poor. Poor touches the poor. Unlike Fashola. Fashola was an elitist governor. And most of his action and attitude was elitist in nature. But which Ambode was the opposite. And he did quite a lot, substantially.
I want you to tell me which category of poor people he appealed to, and then you can substantiate that.
Yes, because most of the developmental projects was not concentrated in the highbrow like Fashola did. It get to the hinterlands. You talked about when he came in, he did about 360 roads within the entire within neighborhood roads. I think my street benefited, and the next street. That's Abiodun Street and some other streets benefited in Sanwo-Ol and some other areas. So he went down to the hinterland. Fashola did quite well in education. I give it to him. Housing, he was elitist. So I would not know why Ambode abandoned Fashola's housing project. It wasn't commensurate to the poor. But as Fashola, Ambode went for the low-cost housing development. Now, he has issue with Fashola, actually, yes. There are some Fashola projects that he has to abandon. For instance, look at what happened to that shopping complex at Falomo. I don't know how that place was abandoned. Fashola's BRT buses were thrown off the road in preference of the blue ones. The red ones were thrown off the road in preference of the blue one. And then again, the main issue really was that the party felt he was too high-handed against them. Commissioners were not given free hand to run their ministries. Yes, he is, as an accountant, he instituted controls, but controls that stifles productivity is a bad control. He knows it. But again, so there are politicians that also need patronage. Those that commissioners can sign 5 million contracts for, can sign 2 million contracts for. According to sources, I'm not in government, felt everything has to come to Governor Ambode's table.
But this is detail for many governments.
See, Lagos is too big. For that kind of tight
what makes this different
control
from anywhere else? River State has a Governor Wike where
also
all of his commissioners
I will tell you,
are in the same situation.
I will tell you why.
There have also been several states where when a new governor comes, he decides to go a different direction.
Every other state has it. But you see,
River, the governor's gone in a different direction.
Lagos
so what's wrong
is
with that?
quite a different scenario. You see, Lagos is the microcosm of the country.
And
the diversification of Lagos, the broad diversification of Lagos is too wide. The political sagacity of Lagos is not found anywhere in the country. Now, you see, take Rivers like you said. Peter Odile was governor, right? I mentioned used to be his right-hand man, his speaker for 8 years.
Yes.
But what happened? There was some skirmishes towards the end of the administration but when Rotimi took over, he brushed off everything and nothing because there is no foundation. No foundation. Now, when Wike came in, of course, you know what happened. He brushed everything about because there's no foundation. Let Wike live today.
We're still saying the same thing.
Let Wike live today. Let me live today.
There's no continuity.
But in Lagos, there is a structure, a deep-rooted structure. Not just Bola Tinubu. There is, I forgot what they call the core echelon of Lagos structure. It's not just Bola Tinubu. Bola Tinubu is a leader. A leader that knows how to lead. You see, and that thing is for you to know how to lead, for you to know how to listen, for you to know how to spread favors. That's the only way you can get leadership and followership to remain steadfast. You know when to give in and when to be strict. You know when to say yes and when to say no. That is the difference in Bola Tinubu and every other person. Now, there is a structure in Lagos which will be difficult for you. And look at most of the people that emerge. They don't have structure. Fashola has no structure. Fashola cannot win through local government. He has no structure there. If he goes to contest elections through local government on his own, he might lose. Then to Ambode does not have any structure. He was a civil servant. He was propped up. What structure does he have to fight an established structure? So that is different in Lagos.
Okay, back to you, Kunu. I mean, I'm getting two different vibes from both of you. So Ambode appealed to those who are on the lower class and Fashola, the elitists. But you're saying that Fashola had a great thing going on and Ambode should have followed suit. But this is ditto for every government in this country. We keep paying lip service to the fact that government is a continuum, but we see every new governor who comes in starts from the scratch. Sometimes we see duplication of the same projects and offices and departments and agencies. So why should Lagos be any different? And why should Ambode be bearing the cross of something that is, you know, happening in Nigeria?
The reason organizations have corporate communications departments, some of these departments called corporate communications actually have PR and events under it. Some organizations have PR units differently, some have corporate communications differently. It's because there's all called crisis communication mitigation. Politics has a lot to do with your mode of engaging with the power blocks around you.
The establishment.
Excuse me, you could say establishment is a business, is an accountant. It will use more business terminologies. So let me be fluid here. Now, the power blocks must, as a matter of fact, be appealed to. Let me tell you this. For you to win an election in the US, you must appeal to the Jewish community in the US. They own New York. You never fit, say, you know, appeal to them. The Jewish man in the US, those generations, the substantial amount that belongs to the US, it belongs to them. See, let me tell you this. So you must be very strategic in appealing to them. Even Donald Trump, in all his glorious madness, appealed to them before he became the president. I'm saying here that if you do not understand public relations, you don't have business in politics. You do not necessarily have to lick anybody's feet, but you must understand how to appeal to them, how to restrain it. And let me tell you this. I had an insider information where Fashola was there. Fashola had his issues with the supposed kingmakers of Lagos. But what he was able to do is to say no, then say yes, say no, then say yes. But when you say no completely, and did not even affect the functions. He said something very important. Alessa said something important. Lagos is too big and complex for that pattern where you don't even allow your commissioners to function. It will be comatose in governance.
So there has to be some form of flexibility.
As a matter of fact, there has to be a very functional flexibility, or else it will appear as if you have not done anything. But the reason why this has come down on him is because some of the commissioners that would have used their initiative is more or less like wanting to help your child to do everything, and the child's cognitive abilities is stifled because you want to be a parent. No, let the child run, let the child fall, let the child stand. Culture did be careful. Let the child be able to think on his feet or on her feet. The same thing with Ambode. Ambode, some of the people that are his commissioners, they are more experienced than him even in the system. That is for the record. Alesta can say no or yes to this that I'm saying. So for Lagos, when he says he has learned his lesson, I'm very happy he said he has learned his lesson. But has he learned to forgive? Because even while the primary was on, it was spoken to that Ambode, it would be a better landing. Sometimes we say, let's say this thing, some of these things we know about it. Up until the time he went for the primaries, it was obvious. And if you even look at it, even the local government administrators, as it were, they did not even stand. You are in power, and the people that are supposed to be loyal to you did not even vote. Look at the primaries that it was. It was a colossal defeat for a sitting governor.
For which at that point,
yes,
when he will have read the handwriting on the wall, he will have bowed out gloriously.
Perhaps we need a Daniel to do the interpretation.
You see, for me, Ambode, I love him so much. One, as my professional colleague. Two, for helping to solve most of the traffic on that Sanwo-Ol axis. 3, beggar, and some of the fantastic job he has done in the Egbeda area
He built bus stops.
and all those areas.
He built bus stops. Is that what you're saying?
No, some of the expansion of the roads and all.
We're never going to get to the end.
I like that. I like
He
that.
did expand the Sanwo-Ol. He built bus stops.
Yes,
He did expand the road.
No, you didn't expand, but you created laybys that was causing the problem.
Better, yes.
So when I have to go to one radio station around that place, even earlier I would leave like 2 hours earlier, but now I can time myself 1 hour, 1.5 hours. I will do that.
Let's talk about Sanwo-Olu, who is going to be sworn in. Now I'm a bit confused if it's going to be May 29 or June 12.
May 29.
May 29.
Well, yeah. Because they just passed that bill, the Senate. So I'm wondering, maybe they might just send out
29.
Yeah.
No, you can't have 4 years plus.
Anyway, so what should he? Because he's been in the system.
Yeah.
Practically, he's been in the system. He's also risen through the ranks,
yes.
and now, just as his predecessors, he's not a career politician, but he's going to be governor of Lagos State. And as complex as Lagos State is, what are the things that are expected of him, and what should he do? Should he be threading carefully also? Like
I want to say this quickly. There was something that stands Bola Tinubu out: his ability to get the best of hand and listen to their advice. There was a statement made by the Vice President. He was his Attorney General.
Yeah, Attorney General.
There was a statement made by the Vice President during one of Bola Tinubu's colloquium that there was a day they were discussing one issue. And late in the night, I think guest house or somewhere, and they were impressed on him to the point that they said, "Sir, this is how it should be." And he got angry at one point and said, were you elected or were you the one that elected me? When a discussion become that robust to that level, when the people you are working for are not afraid of telling you the truth and how it should go. He said himself, Kadoso, Adela Lake, Lai Mohammed, we were in that meeting that day. He walked out, Bola Tinubu walked out, but he now came back again. And they all piped down, because that tells you that you get the people that can help you to do better.
Okay, we're running out of time.
Sanwo-Olu should learn from the mistake of Ambode. I'm not saying you should go and be throwing largesse everywhere. No, you must work for Lagos, but you must remember where you are coming from. Okay. And this centralized administration of every 10,000 naira will come to your table. This is not Rivers State. This is not Cross River State. Okay. This is Lagos. All right. And identify the best hands that you know can help you deliver the Lagos.
Quickly, we have just 1 minute before we wrap things up.
Well, I think that when you see your father failed at a project, it is to first of all do a careful study of why he failed and avoid the past. When they tell you that there's a portal somewhere, even if it is covered in water, but somebody shows you that there's a portal, please drive around it, don't drive straight into it. For Sanwo-Olu, first he has to mend fences. It's a whole lot of problem and cracks in the relationship between the kingmakers or the power blocks and the person who leads. Then secondly, look at the various areas that this man abandons. The project that you see can benefit the people that you abandoned, the contractors that were not paid. In fact, it should first of all clear Lagos of the filth if he has to indeed make Loma function very well, because we cannot live in Lagos, the supposed center of excellence, with all the dirt everywhere. Then if he's able to clear that dirt, which will take him like 2.5 years, he can go on to other things.
All right, gentlemen, what can I say? Fingers crossed. Let's see how Lagos turns out in the next
It's not going to cross. We'll keep talking, because this is our Lagos. Yeah. Okay. And we must make Lagos our dream.
All right, always a pleasure. Lester Wilcox, Adeni Ikunu, thank you, gentlemen, for speaking with us.
It's my pleasure. Anytime.
Plus Politics. We will be taking a look at Bielsa in our Plus Politics package today, and when we return, I'll be giving you my take.
The Bielsa state government has appealed to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to postpone the upcoming governorship election in the state, scheduled for November the 2nd this year. The government, with several stakeholders, including religious leaders, says the election clashes with the state's yearly Thanksgiving service, which, according to the laws of the state, is expected to be a public holiday. The team, led by the Deputy Governor of the state, Rear Admiral Borig-Bioha, Jonah, retired, says the elections will experience voter apathy on the scheduled dates and will not achieve the aim of INEC.
Christian community approached the governor for us to make this plea to you, that they may reconsider the dates fixed for the election. We are also concerned that if it is fixed on that day, it could possibly even affect turnout of voters. We want every person to be in election mood and come out to vote en masse as would be required by INEC. Any other day that they fix does not clash with this day would be good for us. So it is actually a plea that we are making, so that the people of Bayelsa will also feel that their wishes are also respected.
The state government has appealed to the Commission to reconsider the date for this reason. The Speaker of the State Assembly, religious leaders, and other stakeholders made similar appeal to the Commission in writing. Today, all the stakeholders are here to further reiterate their appeal. Your Excellency, we have listened to you. At the next meeting of the Commission, your appeal will be examined and the Commission's decision will be announced by Friday this week.
The National Youth Council of Nigeria has called for equitable and fair distribution of political positions among the different zones of the country. The group, while speaking to newsmen in Abuja, tasked President Muhammadu Buhari to correct the mistakes of the past and give all Nigerians a sense of inclusion in the current administration. The Deputy National President of the group, Innocent Ndwanya, also urged the current administration to adopt a policy of non-interference and allow the National Assembly choose its leaders.
The NYCM believes that with his renewed mandate, President Muhammadu Buhari and APC have the opportunity to course-correct the pitfalls of the past 4 years identified above and move the country into a united and inclusive manner. Beckons to escape the recent pitfall. The NYCM believes that this is the time to plan for equitable allocation of offices. And this begins with the current jostling for remaining constitutional positions of leadership. With this in mind, we feel that to course correct the perception of exclusion and marginalization, it is only imperative that the president becomes aware that his criteria fit perfectly a candidate from the Southeast.
We want to believe as an organization that the National Assembly should be able to look within themselves who is more qualified to lead them. More so also to draw the attention of every right-thinking Nigeria to the need for this country to be balanced. That's the foremost issue. We must have a balanced nation. There are what we call constitutional positions. There are some that are not constitutional. The constitutional positions should be distributed equitably across the regions, across the zones, so that we can have peace, so that there can be unity, so that we can move freely as a country.
It's time for my take. In the words of Winston Churchill, the very great and famous one, politics is the ability to foretell what is going to happen tomorrow, next week, next month, and the next year, and to have the ability afterwards to explain why it didn't happen. So the question is, what kind of politics are we playing in Nigeria? Is it explainable? Is it defendable? Is it dependable, or even responsible and accountable? If you call yourself a politician, maybe you should do some soul searching today. I am Mary Anna Cohn, and it's been Plus Politics. Do have a great day.